Welcome back to Tech by Pike. Today we're taking a more in-depth look at the Asus ROG Flow Z13 gaming tablet. We performed an unboxing. We posted that video already. We want to go over some features of this particular tablet and some synthetic benchmarking, and then we're going to do some gaming. We'll take a look at those scores around FPS. Real quick though, let's review the specs of this particular tablet. It's 12th gen i9 12900H processor, has an RTX 3050 Ti with 4 gigabytes of GDDR6. It can max out at 35 watts, but it can boost up to 40 watts with Dynamic Boost 2.0. It has that 13.4 WUXG touchscreen display at 120 Hertz. And it has a max brightness of 500 nits, 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 memory, that is 5200 Hertz, and then it has a 1 terabyte PCIe Gen4 solid state drive. And this also comes with a mux switch, which is fantastic, and we'll check that out while we're doing some gaming. There is a couple things that I didn't like about this particular tablet, and it's not so much the tablet piece, it's the keyboard. I just think they really chinsed out on it. It's plastic, the keys are plastic, the trackpad's plastic, and I don't know, it just seems very flimsy, and it's cheap, and I didn't like it. There you go. But the chassis of the tablet is very nice. No flex at all. Has this nice little kickstand here with a red accent. Lots of venting here. Keep this tablet cool while playing AAA games. Then it has this nice little window right here. Kind of lights up when you turn it on, and you can see the internals. That's the one thing about this tablet though. There's not a lot of upgrading you'll be able to do with this. The memory is soldered to the motherboard. Can't get to the Wi-Fi card. There is a slot for a micro SD card, and I do have a 1 terabyte SD card in there right now. And then the tablet itself came with the 1 terabyte drive, so I have lots of storage here, and so that's nice. Anyway, let's go ahead. We'll go over some features. We'll check out some synthetic benchmarking, some gaming and whatnot. Then I'll have some final thoughts at the end. Let's get into it. Here is the test for the camera and the mic. I'm going to do a little typing. It's a 720p camera. It's okay. The mic itself is pretty bad, but will pass for conferencing calls. But that's about it. We're going to test the speakers here with some no copyright music on YouTube. I've got it at full blast. Let's listen. So not too bad. It's lacking a tad bit of bass, but I mean, it's pretty clear, and it gets pretty loud, so that's good. So out on the Asus Armory Crate, you can configure the performance of the laptop based on what you're doing. You've got a silent mode, performance turbo, and you got some manual here. You can go ahead and check out CPU and GPU stats, memory and storage, fan speeds, and then over to the side here, you have the opportunity for a mux switch where you can switch it to dedicated graphics from hybrid. Just remember that if you switch it to the dedicated graphics card, the tablet will require a reboot. We performed some synthetic benchmarking using 3D Mark. We did a Time Spy benchmark, Fire Strike, a storage benchmark, and a CPU benchmark. And for Time Spy, we got a graphics score of 4058 and a CPU score of 13805. Our online score was 4538, and compared to others online, our score was just a little bit below average. For our Fire Strike score, we had a graphics score of 10,646, physics score of 25,567, and a combined score of 4,149. Our online score was 9,958, which was good, and we were just below average on that as well compared to others online. We had a storage benchmark score I'm going to go ahead and let you take a look at that. The average was 2025 and our score was 1670. And then we had a CPU benchmark, and you can see from our max threads all the way down to one thread, CPU temps, and clock frequency. We also used Blender for some CPU benchmarking. Our benchmark score for our i9 12900H was 146.48. And here we were on the grid here between 70 and 80%. And then you can see some others here for comparison. We also did some benchmarking using Cinebench. Our CPU multi-core score was 12,826, and our CPU single-core score was 1,900. So we used Geekbench 5 for some more synthetic benchmarking, and we benchmark our CPU. Our single core score was 1,907, and then our multi-core score was 10,937. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here, and you can check out some of the details around the processor performance. There's the single core, and then here is the multi-core performance. And you can slow the video down to get some of these stats. So we ran a full computing benchmark using Geekbench 5, and our Vulkan score was 10,278. And I'm going to go ahead and just scroll down a little bit, and you can see those performance scores in more detail. And you could slow this video down to get a better look. So we did some testing with our SpiderX Pro on this screen, and let me remind you, this is a 13.4-inch WUXG touchscreen display, and the touchscreen itself is very, very responsive. Has a 120 Hz refresh rate, gets up to a max brightness of 500 nits, 16 by 10 aspect ratio, and a 1920 by 1200 resolution that gives you more space for toolbars and tabs. We did the testing with SpiderX Pro. We got a 98% of sRGB, 75% of Adobe RGB, and then 76% of P3, which is pretty decent. We played some of our favorite games, starting with Cyberpunk 2077, and we tested these on high settings and also on medium settings because I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison. Cyberpunk 2077 on high was getting around 26 to 30 FPS on average, but on medium setting it was getting 30 to 37 FPS on average. God of War on high was getting around 35 to 47 FPS on average, where on medium settings it was getting all the way up to 60 FPS on average. Star Wars Battlefront 2, this kind of surprised me a little bit. On high, it was getting around 50 to 60 FPS on average, but on medium settings, it was getting all the way up to 90 FPS, 85 to 90 FPS on average. Elden Ring was on high settings, 35 to 40 FPS, but on medium settings, it was getting 49 to 60 FPS on average. That's very playable. So, great news. We create this FPS benchmarking comparison spreadsheet where the game is set on Ultra and the tablets or the laptops are switched where the MUX switch is switched to the dedicated graphics card. And it's no different with this tablet. We tested Shadow of the Tomb Raider, F1 2020, Red Dead Redemption, and Horizon Zero Dawn. And for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we got a max FPS score of 111 and a minimum of 56. And then for F1 2020, we got a max of 162 FPS and a minimum of 95 FPS. Red Dead Redemption, we got a max of 66 FPS and a minimum of 3. And then Horizon Zero Dawn, we got a max of 121 FPS and a minimum of 15. Some of these scores are really fantastic, in my opinion, when it comes to ultra settings and FPS scores results on a tablet. I think it's great. So that is the Asus ROG Flow Z13 gaming tablet. A lot of power under the hood. This is definitely gaming on the go. The only thing that I really disliked about this was the keyboard they supplied with this unit, and I just wish they would do something about that. Just flimsy, cheap, and I didn't like it. But I can see why they did that, because most of the money went into the tablet, so there you go. There's another thing too. We got this tablet out on the Best Buy website for about $1,800, and if you intend to get the XG Mobile so you can have an external graphics card, you're probably looking at another $1,200 to $1,400, and then add the graphics card on top of that, you're talking some bucks. Is it worth that kind of money when you can just go out and get a pretty nice gaming laptop for the same price? I don't know. I would probably go for the laptop, but that's just me. Anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this from Tech by Pike, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Helps the channel. Not only that, gives us an opportunity to bring more videos like this to you. And for that, we appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.